Welcome to the My Brain, My Happiness podcast. My name is Joe, and on each episode, it is my goal to spread awareness on mental health. No, I'm not a therapist, a psychiatrist, or a medical doctor. I'm just a guy who has had a lifelong relationship with mental illness, specifically OCD. Together with you, I want to blow the roof off the stigma that comes with having a mental illness. You need to know you're not alone. I promise this podcast will be upbeat and positive. My goal with each episode is to make you understand that you don't have to take this on alone or in silence. Now let's change some lives. Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to a new episode of My Brain, My Happiness. I can't believe that it's been a long time since I've been out there. And, I still kept up with making my motivational kind of mental health awareness TikTok videos. And I put something out on TikTok and basically asked, the people who follow me, like, look, I had this podcast going and nobody was really paying attention to it. And would you guys, if I started it back up again, would anybody be interested in listening to it, And I got a lot of positive responses on that. I got a lot of people that said, you know what, if you can help one person, then it's worth it. And my main goal when I started doing all this, and I got my life coaching certification and, all kinds of other, health and fitness certification, things like that, is that I just wanted to help people. And I have a 9-to-5 job, but I feel like I was really, really meant to do more, just give back more to my fellow human beings, to be honest with you. And, I suffer from mental illness. I have OCD. I have seasonal depression. Actually, it's more than seasonal depression. In the wintertime, I really get down, and it is wintertime here in New England and amongst other places of the country. I don't want to act like New England's the only place that has winter, but it really gets to me. The cold weather really gets to me. I thrive in the summertime. I love the heat. I know a lot of people complain about heat and humidity, and I'm not one of those people. I just love it, and I play golf and all that stuff. So in the wintertime, it's really hard for me, as I'm sure it is hard for a lot of you guys and gals out there. So there's a couple of things that I'd like to talk about that I do to try to help me get through the winter. One main thing that is, it's really important. It's important not just in the wintertime. It's important every day of your life. And that is to just get up and move. And I don't mean, you don't have to get up there and bang out, 45 minutes on the treadmill running at, 5 miles an hour and sweating your ass off and all that. I mean, I just get up and make sure I get my steps in every day. I get up early and do my laps. And yes, I hate the cold so fucking much that I do laps in my condo, in a circle in my condo. So we have, you have the kitchen and the living room, the dining room, all that. And so it's all open, right? Well, there's a wall that defines the kitchen, but I just basically walk in circles. And for example, this morning I walked 3 miles in my condo in circles. So I already got about 8,000 steps in, and I try to get somewhere. I like to get like 12,000 in. I don't always get 12,000 in, but I always get 10,000 in. Maybe sometimes on the weekends during the winter, I'm a little lazy about doing it. But for the most part, I get 10,000 steps plus in every single day. And I also make sure that I resistance train a few times a week. Now, I'm going to tell you something. There is no downside to physical activity, especially mentally. I mean, it just gets the endorphins going, and it's almost like taking an anxiety pill. Almost. Not quite, but almost. And so, if you really push yourself, and I don't mean push yourself to extremes where you're dying, huffing and puffing and puking and all that shit, but just to get up and move. The more we sit still and stay sedentary, the more you're just going to fall into that funk that nobody wants to be in. that, listen, I'm in it. I'm in that funk. I'm in the winter funk. I hate it. So that's one thing that I do. Another thing that I do that I recently just started doing was I got one of those happy lights. People have talked about doing the light therapy. A lot of people swear by it. The jury's still out for me. I just started it last week. At the time of this recording, it is January 12th, 2026. So I just started it. I started it last week, and man, when the light is on, it feels so good. It really does, and it's not like a placebo thing. It just feels good. But I'm not sure if there's a lasting effect for me. I don't know yet, and we'll give it some more time. But well, screw it. If it's gonna make it feel good when it's on, then I'm still gonna use it. You use it for about, I don't know, I guess you can use it for like an hour a day. Not all at once. I don't do it all at once. I probably do it in like 15-minute intervals and things like that. So that's another thing that I do to try to help me out when I'm suffering in the wintertime. So I preach a lot out on my TikTok page about not staying silent. There's too many people in this world that are suffering by themselves, mainly because they think they're crazy. Let's talk about OCD for a second, because that's what I deal with. And there's so many people that deal with OCD, and it's my God, it's not talked about a lot. And the reason why is because intrusive thoughts are they feel so taboo. And they feel like they make you feel like you're a sicko, like, I don't know, that you're a pedophile or some sort of serial killer or what have you. Because the thoughts, the intrusive thoughts that you can get are so horrific that you're completely ashamed and embarrassed to talk about them. I want to let you know, if you're suffering from these thoughts, okay, you are not alone. Trust me. And that was the big thing that helped me when I realized that the thoughts that I had running through my brain that were consuming me from the time I woke up to the time that I went to bed were something that were like the top thoughts that come with intrusive OCD. I'm not sure if I'm saying this correctly. So when I did my research on OCD, when I got diagnosed as having OCD, and I started looking into intrusive thoughts or bad thoughts or whatever, they had like a list of the top thoughts that are out there. And I tell you what, I was like, yep. I went down the list, and I realized, holy fuck, I'm not alone. I am not alone. This is something that I am not suffering by myself. Look how many people suffer from this. And I go to therapy. I see my therapist every 3 weeks. I see a psychiatrist also, because I'm on medication, which is another. We'll go down that rabbit hole in a minute too. But so I want you to, no matter what you're suffering with, no matter what it is, I want you to know two things. Number one, you're not crazy. You're just not crazy. I know it feels like you are. You're wondering, why me? Why? You start daydreaming about what it's like to feel normal. I got to tell you something. What fucking defined normal? Do we even know? Everybody's got their baggage of shit that they carry around. Okay? So your normal is who you are, right? If you have OCD or depression or anxiety or any mental illness, that is your normal. Okay? And these are things that are treatable, and you can live a productive life with, and you don't have to let it control your every move. You don't have to let your fears stop you from chasing your dreams. You don't have to let your intrusive thoughts, make you afraid to be around a knife in a kitchen, or, afraid to be whatever. I just, that was a thing for me, right? There was times where I thought I was going to stab people. So if I got near a knife, I'd start to have an anxiety attack because I felt like I was going to grab a knife and start going around like the mad slasher. Yeah, that was going through my head. And I know some of you out there with OCD are going, oh, Jesus Christ, that's me too. There was times where I questioned my sexuality. Now, There's nothing wrong with being gay. I would never say there's nothing. You know what? I say love is love, no matter who you're loving. Love is love. But I am about as heterosexual as they come. I'm just a heterosexual man, right? And you start questioning whether or not, you start questioning if you're gay or not. And you know what? There's gay people that can have the opposite intrusive thought. They're like, am I straight? You start questioning that. And then you start, putting these thoughts in your heads, and they're like a real picture, your mind's eye, and it's like this real picture you put in your head of things that that you are fighting, and these thoughts you're fighting. And so how I deal with OCD? I don't fight the thoughts anymore. I just don't fight them. What do I mean by that? If I have an intrusive thought come in my head, and it could be something awful, but the problem with, let me back this up a little bit. The problem with someone with OCD, because there's a lot of us that have bad thoughts. Everybody has a bad thought once in a while. The problem with OCD is when you have these intrusive thoughts, they become life-consuming. They become all-encompassing, and you are afraid to, you can't think of anything else. Whatever that thought is, that intrusive thought that you're locked in on, you are stuck there, and you cannot think of anything else. And so the more you fight these thoughts, the worse they are. So you know what I do? I just let myself think it. I allow myself to think it. I know that I'm not a crazy person. I know that I have OCD, which is intrusive thoughts. And I know that when these thoughts enter my head, that I'm not fucking nuts. I'm not nuts. I just say to myself, it's an illness. And with this illness comes these symptoms, comes these things that happen to you. And with OCD, intrusive thoughts, it's these negative, scary, horrific thoughts that pop in your head. And I just like, well, screw it. I'm thinking, whatever, it's here today. So I'll just let it go. And I just allow myself to think it. And when you don't fight something, I tell you what, it doesn't stay very long. It doesn't. Because the body is like, well, fuck it. I'm not doing any, the illness is like, I'm not doing anything here. This guy's just letting me think it. And then it goes away. Now, granted, it has taken me many years of therapy. It has taken me lots of medication. There's just lots of maintenance that I do in my life to try to keep my shit together. And that I'm going to tell you guys, all you folks out there right now, don't sit still. Don't sit still and do nothing. Don't be afraid to see a therapist. Don't be afraid to talk to somebody. And I know a lot of folks are afraid of medication, and I can't say that I blame people out there for being afraid of medication. Medication has done wonders for me. Not all of them, but we'll get into that too. But for me, medication has just changed my life, right? After I worked with a psychiatrist and got on the right medication, because to be honest with you, a medical doctor shouldn't be playing psychiatrist. I know maybe a lot of you out there, I know, and I actually my first antidepressant that I got was from my primary care physician. Well, they're not trained in psychiatric medicine. They're not. I mean, they know what the medicine does, but they're not trained psychiatrists, and that is extremely important to understand. That a psychiatrist, they work with you, and they work with you in your condition, and it's a lot of times with this medicine, it's a matter of trial and error, dosage changing, things like that, to try to get you to the right spot. Your primary care physician is going to throw a pill at you, whatever vendor is selling him or her that pill at the time, and that's what they're going to prescribe to you. And it may not even be the right one. Even though like clonazepam and Zoloft and Prozac, they're all in the same SSRI family. I get that, right? But they all have their little quirks. They all do their little thing. And sometimes it's just a matter of making a change or a dosage change or going to a different one of them. For OCD, I take Zoloft, and I don't even take a high dosage of it. I'm on the lowest dosage, and I break that in half, and it's enough for me. But I also suffer from anxiety, and my anxiety and a lot of my depression comes from I work from home. Okay. And the job I have, I work for a great company, and but the job I have it's not that rewarding. I work with a great bunch of people, and like I said, I work for a great company that has a great culture, but my job's not that rewarding. And on top of that, I work from home. I'm isolated. And when it's wintertime, like I said, I don't want to go outside. So I try to do things to keep myself occupied. I have a YouTube channel. Now, I don't know if any of you guys or women out there are golfers. I'm sorry that I say guys and women. I always say guys just as a general term, and I don't want to sound like I'm a sexist. I just call everybody guys. And so if I make that mistake, don't take it personally. Women out there, please, if I just say you guys, I mean everybody. And so I don't want to keep catching myself and correcting myself, but just know that. Anyway, back to what I was saying. What was I saying? So I have a YouTube channel that it's a golf YouTube channel. One of my biggest passions in life is golf. I love golf. I love everything about golf. I love playing golf. I love the science of golf. So I love the screwing around with the different equipment. And anyway, so I have a golf YouTube channel. It's called Joey D's Golfing Journey, right? That's Joey and then D''S, Golfing Journey. So if any of you golfers out there want to go out there and check it out, it's average. It's average. I'm an average golfer, and I'm bringing you an average golf YouTube channel. But I got 600 and something subscribers, and people kind of dig my stuff, a little bit, and so I have fun with it. It's a passion. So what does that do? Am I monetized in that? No. Am I monetized in TikTok? No. Because you know what? Am I monetized with this podcast? No. I do all this because I love it. That's why. I'm out here talking to you on this podcast because when someone tells me, oh my God, I listened to your podcast today and it's unbelievable how much you helped me, or they watch a TikTok video and they say, I needed this video today. I cannot believe that you came across my feed. I needed this today. Do you know how good that makes me feel? Because mental health awareness is such a big deal to me. Because I remember when I first was diagnosed, you're going back, holy cow, I'm 56. I probably started suffering. I'm suffering with anxiety and stuff since I was a teenager, but I am a true OCD, these intrusive thoughts, probably since I was in my late teens, early 20s, but I didn't get diagnosed having OCD until I'm pretty sure I was in my 20s, maybe early 30s. My dad died when I was 28, and I had some battles with some OCD before, but it had passed. But after my dad died, it kicked up full force. I thought I was going to murder my kids. It's fucked up, right? That was the horrific thought that was going through my head. And some of you may be shocked and be like, oh my God, I can't believe he can talk about this so open. But some of you out there are saying to yourself, oh my God, I know exactly what he's saying. I know exactly what he went through because I'm either currently going through the same thing or I've been through the same thing, right? Constant fear of being ill. I had myself convinced that I had pancreatic cancer. People used to call that being a hypochondriac. It's not. You're not a hypochondriac. It's a form of OCD. Now, like I said, I am not a doctor, okay? Don't come to me and look to me for therapeutic diagnosis or anything like that. I can just come to you from my experience and tell you about my experiences with my particular mental illness and things that I do. And if there's something that I do that you do that can help you, then I'll feel good about that. And that's why I'm out here doing this. I can't express, there's like, I'm going to finish the sentence here. There's like 30 million people each year that get diagnosed or have some form of depression at one time, in their lives. And so many people just they just sit in silence, and they don't do anything about it. And I know I've said this, I've already talked about this, but I need you to just go find someone to talk to. I know on my TikTok page, a lot of people say, I don't have anybody. I'm missing. You have somebody. I mean, I don't think you're going through life not talking to anybody. I mean, if you go to work, maybe there's coworkers. Don't be afraid to listen. Don't even be afraid to go and check into programs that your company may or may not offer. Like there's a lot of employee, what do they call it? Like employee health type programs. Excuse me. Employee, I don't know what they call it, something. Okay, where you can reach out and you can talk to like the therapist. Your companies will offer you that. I mean, you could OCD, or depression, anxiety. It all can be debilitating. And if you just try to fight it and don't tell anybody, then people aren't going to know, right? And they're just going to be like, why aren't you doing the good job that you used to do before? Or why are you not talking anymore? Or why are you so silent? Or why won't you come out of the house? Or why are you not the same person that you were before? And if you don't tell them, nobody's going to know. I'm not saying make your business everybody's business, but there's people out there in the world that you can trust. You know it. Stop telling yourself there's nobody. There is somebody. There's somebody. And if there's nobody like in your immediate circle, get on the computer, find yourself a therapist. My God, they have online therapy now. There are options. You know what? You can reach out to me on TikTok. I can't be your therapist, but maybe I can help you find someone in your area. Maybe I can tell you things that I do, because there's people who ask me, "Hey, what do you do when you are thinking this, or what do you do when you battle this?" I'll tell people what I do, and I will always say, "But make sure you talk to your doctor." I do want to talk a little bit about the medication that I'm on. I take a lot of medication, and I feel right now that I take too much medication, and I'm a little down in the dumps. So in 2022, I went on a health kick, and I was at 265 pounds, and my knees were bothering me. I couldn't walk. It was awful. I had volunteered at a golf tournament in the Hartford area, the Travelers Championship, and after being on my feet for like 12 hours, 2 days in a row, my knees were throbbing, and I was working the next week, and I'm like, you know what? I need to do something. I need to do something. I need to make a change. And I signed up for Noom, and they use a whole mental part of it's a philosophy, how you think about food. And I bought into it, and I followed it strictly, and I lost 80 pounds, and I got all the way down to like 180, and I looked great. I felt great. There were some people who were like, "Oh, you look too thin now. You look too thin," but I didn't. The problem is that people saw me when I was really heavy, and then I lost 80 pounds, and that's a drastic change. And so if someone doesn't see you for a while, then they tell you that you look too thin. I didn't. My wife didn't think so. I didn't think so, and I felt great. Well, I have gained back 40 pounds, and a lot of it came on pretty quickly lately. And you know what? I take Seroquel. Seroquel, the number one side effect for it is weight gain. I still exercise every day. I try to watch what I eat. I mean, I'm not as strict as I was, but I'm not over the top. I still log all my food, but I lose a few pounds, gain a few pounds, lose a few pounds, gain a few pounds. And I know that's a common problem that people have, but I have stayed consistent with trying to take care of myself. So I don't know if it's the medicine or not. I don't know. I'm going to try to get even more strict. Try to be even more conscious about my health on the weekends. But my weight gain has led to a lot of my depression. Like now when I look at myself in the picture, I'm embarrassed. In a picture, I'm embarrassed to see myself again. In a video on TikTok, I see a belly hanging over that I didn't have for like 2 years. I lost it, kept it off, was proud of myself. And now I am just, I'm not proud of myself anymore. And I don't like that feeling. I want to be healthy. I want to be around for a long time. Like I had one grandparent when I was born, my father's mother. And so I never had any grandfathers. Okay. And now my grandmother died back in 93. So, I want to be around for my grandkids, when and if they come. You know what I'm saying? To my son and my daughter, when and if they come, or when they come, get going, let's go. I just want to be here for them. And that's why it's a goal. It's funny. There's a goal that I don't necessarily care about the quantities of years that I live. And let me back that up by saying I want to live a nice long life, but I want to live a nice long quality life. I want to age gracefully. I don't, my mother's 90, she's going to be 98 in February. For 98 years old, my mother still does pretty good. Now, she's 98, so she can only do so good, but like people don't live to 98 years old, and my mother is still living on her own, and she for the most part is kicking life in the ass. And yeah, my sisters and me, we have to do stuff for her, grocery shopping and things like that. And one of my sister Kim, goes to my mother's house every single day. So I am very thankful that she does that. And it's not that it's fair, we all should be pulling our weight a little more, but, she's there for my mother every single day. And so I try to do whatever I can. I call my mother on a regular basis. I should see her more than I do, and I'm carrying some guilt with that, but I'm going off on a tangent. Listen, this podcast today was unscripted. Okay, a lot of times I will research a topic. I'll look at a TED Talk, watch a TED Talk, and I will try to, I'll try to come up with something to talk about. But today we're kind of freeballing it because it's the first one in a long time, and it's just kind of like a hey, I'm back. So anyway, my mother's 98 years old. What I'm trying to say is that if I could live that long, great. But I need it to be I need a good quality of life, because if I'm just not if it goes downhill because I didn't take care of myself, then I got nobody to blame but me on that. And so that's why getting this weight off is so crucial for me mentally, because I'm going to obsess about dying early if I don't get myself healthy again. And but the Seroquel works so well for me. There's a doctor on YouTube. His name is Dr. Joseph, Josef. I don't know if it's Joseph. I don't know how it's pronounced, but he's a psychiatrist, and he's really not into the medication. He talks about all the dangers of the medication. I had to stop watching him because here's what I take, right? I take Zoloft, and I take half a dose, right? And then I take Wellbutrin, and I take 450 milligrams of Wellbutrin because people who take SSRIs, you probably know that it lowers your sex drive. Guys, we have a tough time getting the old equipment to work like we want it to. So I take Wellbutrin because it's supposed to counteract that, but that is like a upper type of antidepressant, which is not always good for a person with my condition. But anyway, I take that. I take Buspar for anxiety. I take clonazepam for anxiety. I take Seroquel for anxiety. And I take Xanax as needed for anxiety. I also, last year, or maybe the year before, was diagnosed ADD. And now I take Adderall. So there is a plethora of medication that I'm taking on a daily basis. And I'm starting to worry about what that could do to me long term because, to be honest with you, these medications were never meant to be taken long term, or they really don't know what the effects are long term. They haven't been around like, penicillin, So I worry about that. I worry about it. But every time I try to go off medication, I don't function. So I'd like to find a happy medium somewhere. I was taking Xanax every day, and I've cut back to that, to just taking it as needed, because why need to take a clonazepam and a Xanax? And so now I take the clonazepam, and then I'll take a Seroquel in the morning. I'll take a Seroquel in the late afternoon, and that will help me sleep at night. And there you go. So that's everything that's going on with me right now. Like I said, I'm going to keep making the TikTok videos. I'm going to start back up on this podcast. We'll see how it goes, see how it performs. I don't know if you guys are going to get through this whole one today. It's been a pretty long babble session on my part, but if you're still here, I appreciate the fact that you've listened to me all the way to the end. So remember, don't be silent and turn to somebody. There's somebody you can find. Remember that we need to help each other. And if you know someone who's suffering, reach out to them. And if you're suffering, get help. I'm here for you, and I'll do whatever I can to try to help you. This has been another episode of My Brain, My Happiness. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Peace, and I love you.